What up, peeps? Welcome back to Carpo's channel. I guess it would be the 15 minutes of free thinking. And, I tried to start this video earlier and just got distracted by the washing machine, so I turned it off, and then I paced around thinking, how do I tackle a video like this? How do I even discuss an issue like stress and anxiety as it pertains to social expectations of us? And I've really done a lot of thinking about what has caused my anxiety and my own stresses. So I wanted to talk about tics, nervous habits, as well as our underlying stress that we're unaware of. But as it pertains to our expectations of what we should be doing, we're supposed to be successful or have a family or whatever it might be that pushes you, because we're all unique and each individual has their own their own idea of what life entails and what's important to them. But there's also this shared frustration that we all have of not knowing. And so we create little bubbles of ideas, whether it be living for God or living for yourself or living for your kids. Everybody finds their unique way to cope. Some people become immersed in work. And it was this... Actually, the song came on earlier that really kind of pushed me towards making this video. It was The Cat's in the Cradle by Harry Chapin, and I'm sure a lot of you know the song. The song itself is about a father who is too busy to spend time with his son because he's trying to earn money. He has to work, he has to pay the bills, and his son says, hey, let's play ball, and he's like, I'm busy, sorry, and the kid's like, that's okay. And as the kid grows up, eventually his dad realizes it's too late, and now he wants to borrow the car. And then the kid's off in college, and the dad calls the kid and asks him if he wants to hang out, and he says, sorry dad, the kids have the flu, I'm busy, I got stuff to do. In a nutshell, this song pretty much sums up a lot of the fears of society, not just having children, but the mistakes and missed opportunities that we have. It turns out, after a little more research, that Harry Chapin's wife wrote that song, and apparently they wrote a lot of music together, and she would share her lyrics with him, and he'd put some of them into songs. And he happened to be gone on the road when their son, Josh, was born. And so when he came home, he asked her, what have you been up to, besides the obvious, I guess, and she said, I wrote this song. And he turned it into a song, which became very popular, because a lot of people know the song but don't even realize why they resonate with it. Because the kids grow up fast. My kids are 7 and 10, and now I have my oldest, who is 25 now. He's doing his own thing. We're really close, fortunately. And that's the reason for that, is what I wanted to talk about. I guess you could call me a stay-at-home dad. I worked in carpentry for a long time until my back gave out from bad sciatica, and I basically had to quit my career. I had my own licensed, journeyman level finished carpenter. I could charge what I wanted, I was loving it, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. It was heartbreaking. It made me feel like less of a man, if you will. And not just because of what society deems to be a man, but because of the fact that I have to lift my kids up. I have to be able to pick up a cabinet or lift something off the ground or do some yard work. To this day, years later, even if I do just a few hours of labor, it'll kick my ass in a couple days. And I've been laid out, as many of you know. I was out for like a month. I couldn't lift anything or move very well. It's frustrating, but that's along the lines of regrets. You can't regret something that happened because you made a mistake or because you worked too hard at one thing or another. It's time to move forward, to move on. And so that's when I started my herb business. I didn't know what else to do, and I'm still, having all these dreams of what I'd like to accomplish, but when I pin them down, I say, why am I anxious about my position? Well, it's because I need money. Pure and simple, right? A lot of folks say, no, it's more than that, it's meaning, and all of this is true, but money is the crucial factor that allows you to do the things that you need to do. So if you're not earning income, then you stress because of it. And this is why so many people are constantly anxious. But money aside, I really had to ask myself, what do I really want out of life? Now, since I haven't been able to work in construction and I've been working from home, I've basically been a stay-at-home dad. I drop my kids off at school, pick them up. I'm with them 24/7 and they take it for granted, you know. As a parent, I get stepped on and sometimes I go, what did I get myself into, you know, with two boys that are just, but they're great kids. And I don't teach my kids to fear me. I shake my head in disappointment rather than scolding in anger. And believe me, as a parent, that has worked the most efficiently. But I can see how this has turned out with my oldest son, and he's a great kid. Fortunately, he has two awesome parents, right? His mom, my wife, she is amazing. She's an amazing woman, very patient. And it takes a certain amount of patience to deal with kids, period. And this kind of ties into the video I made the other day about the MGTOW movement and the incel groups, which talk about how horrible women are, and they're all gold diggers, and every one of them just wants to take your money and take the kids. And there are plenty of women out there like that. And there are plenty of jerk abusive men too, but not all people are like that. My wife and I always like to say, you know, I'm grateful that we are able to, I don't know, have civil discussions and to be able to understand each other on a level where we're not trying to use one another or abuse one another, that we're spending our time together wisely. But I wouldn't give up anything, point being, for the time I've spent with the kids at home, but it still made me feel like less of a man, if you will, right? I'm not able to do manual labor anymore, and I can't do the things I wanted to do. And that's brought me anxiety. And I've mentioned this before, but when I was in my early to mid-30s, I had a lot of anxiety. I mean, I was stressing constantly. I grinded my teeth so bad, I had bruxism, I'd grind them at night. And I've had to have all my teeth replaced from not taking care of them when I was younger and eating junk food. But that was also probably stress eating, not even realizing it, and making myself more anxious, making bad decisions for my health. And in retrospect, I'm healthier as an adult than I was as a kid. But you can't regret. And that reminds me, because there was something I wanted to remember. Hey, you know, a lot of you, have you seen probably this the tattoo that says "no regerts"? It's the old joke about getting a tattoo that said "no regrets," but it's misspelled to "no regerts." It kind of like, if you're going to have no regrets, you better make it universal, because everything's a joke. All of it's a cosmic joke. The fact that we're all here trying to understand where we come from, it's a frustrating endeavor. There are so many bigger world problems that we can frustrate. Some people focus on politics. Some people are obsessed with the left or the right. Some people are obsessed with marching for white supremacy. You know, just the stupidest shit, you know, that's a complete waste of time, but it's a way for people to feel like they're part of a group and to make somebody else the enemy, and pointing the fingers at the government, pointing the fingers at each other, whether your neighbor's to blame or it's all the blacks or the Mexicans. You know, there are a lot of problems in the world. Damn straight. I mean, originally I wanted to sit down and make a video and talk about the Kurds and what's going on right now with the U.S. pulling out of Syria and what that really means. And I wanted to talk about Iran last month. I wanted to talk about politics a ton of times, but I just don't. I write down my notes and I do my research, and then I just leave it in my folder. And it's because it's not worth the time for the controversy, because people can't have civil conversations because we have such vastly different opinions on politics. I mean, that's a good thing, but it's not when we're all basing our information on what people are telling us and not doing any research. The point of bringing that up is that there are certain things, whether we clash on politics, we clash on religion, people clash on the meaning of life in general, but there's a few things that a lot of us agree on, and that's what I'm trying to focus on here. A few things that even somebody who's a hardcore liberal and a hardcore right-winger can both come together and say, yeah, dude, I stress. I have anxiety about life. I don't know really what I want or where I'm going. And people are afraid to admit it. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm not afraid to admit that even a lot of you probably think I'm full of shit, and a lot of you probably think I'm totally stable. I don't know. Everybody's got their own opinion. It doesn't matter. Our opinion of people that we see on TV, on YouTube, or anywhere else, they're just people behind a screen, some random stranger. But what I've seen is that people give people too much credit. They think that they're these infallible people with these great lives and everything's just fine for them. It's because not enough people are willing to admit their faults. They're not willing to admit their fears. I mean, do you think the president of the U.S., can you imagine President Trump, like, sitting down and saying, yeah, you know, I'm just really feeling kind of bad about what's going on in my life, and you know, I want to improve my well-being, whatever it might, at any time in his life, a person like that, not just him. I'm not making this partisan. I'm saying there's a certain arrogance and egotism with certain people that there is no way they would ever say, whoops, I made a mistake. You will never hear a guy like that say, whoops, I made a mistake, just like you'd never hear certain police officers say, yeah, I made a mistake. Or, and I'm not saying all cops, I'm just saying certain people in power who have positions of power start to abuse that, and they feel like they're infallible. But we know, deep down inside, that many of them know exactly what they're doing. And so when we believe people, when they tell us that they're the greatest, you know, then we feel like, whoa, why am I not the greatest? And that brings stress. Our bullshit image of what we think other people feel and how they live and how happy they are. You know, if you really want to know happiness, you know, find old people, you know, elderly who are in their 80s or 90s who are happy or happily married, happily single, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. They will tell you the things that really mattered in life, and which comes full circle. They will say family and friends and the time that you spent with them. So if you think you have anxiety now because you're trying to make enough money to feed your family, but you say you can't spend any time with your family, take a moment to really think about what you're missing as your kids are growing up. Because I'm telling you, as a parent, I've spent the time with my kids I've been here with them constantly, and I still feel like it's not enough. Like, wow, it just goes by so fast. And if you want to know what breaks up the monotony and causes less stress, set aside time for yourself to go on vacation, to do something fun. Don't punish yourself and think that working hard is the only answer in life. For a lot of people, that's great. But they will tell you later in life that I wish I would have spent more time enjoying life than working to buy more stuff or to buy a bigger house or a nicer car. We know this, but it doesn't make it any less difficult for us to navigate this world, because we all still yearn for those things. And we all still hear, money doesn't buy happiness, but, well, God damn it sure would make it a lot easier if I didn't have to make a car payment or a mortgage payment every month, and worry about whether I'm going to have a job next year. Look, I have a home. We've lived here for 15 years, a house that we pay a mortgage on. We've had to refinance. We've had issues. We've been broke. We've gone to the store with a calculator in the past. And we do okay now, but I know that in a week, in a month, we could be out on the street. I mean, anything can happen tomorrow. You can have a major medical emergency, or your house can burn down, or you can lose your job. And so if you're doing okay right now, and you're stressing because you want to be doing better, or you wish you'd done more, no regrets, man. Let it go. Let the past go. And when it comes to the future, sure, you have to plan ahead. But, you know, no matter how many investments you make for the future, you just unfortunately don't know what you're going to desire later. And that's one of the hardest things, to not know if we're even going to value the same things we value now when we're adults. So, thanks for listening. I'm going to end that now because I pretty much have gotten all across my mind, feels like it wants to convey at this moment. And I'll be talking to you all soon. Be well. If you're new, subscribe. If you're not, good to see you again. And thank you to all my Patreon supporters. Thank you all the commenters. And thank you to the world for allowing me to exist. This video is brought to you by nature. Go out in it.